3 mistakes to avoid when trading up in real estate. Okay, number 1. This is the biggest mistake that we see out there, and to me, it's absolutely crazy. So, Mary. Oh, and by the way, Mary, welcome back to our show.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, Mary, financial planner. You're very educated when it comes into real estate and when it comes into all these different facets of finances, and real estate probably being one of the biggest investments that people make.
One of the biggest investments where you can make the biggest mistakes.
And the biggest money if you do it right.
Right.
So get this, okay? So number 1 on the 3 mistakes to avoid when trading up in real estate. I don't know if you believe this or not, because I know you coach your clients pretty well, but people are going out there trying to put offers on homes when they have to sell their home in order to qualify for financing, and their home's not on the market yet.
And they make the mistake of not having a contract to show the bank to go enter a new contract to buy one.
Exactly.
They're putting the cart in front of the horse.
Exactly.
Big mistake.
Exactly. So basically, here's what we're saying.
And it could lead to being sued.
You know what? It could lead to losing your deposit, to this, to that, just all around not good. So basically, rule number 1, before you start looking for a house, have a solid game plan to list your home for sale, because guess what? Okay? If you get an offer on your house, easily you can put under Section 23 additional provisions on the purchase and sales agreement subject to seller finding suitable housing.
Contingency.
Easy peasy, guys.
Yep.
And check this out. You're in a seller's market. So you're going out there and you're looking at houses that have a ton of traffic, right? You've got 20, 30, 40 different people. No lie. We listed a house the other day in Warwick. We had 35 people. 2 days. Sold
Phenomenal.
it. 35 people in 2 days look at this house. And basically, if you need to sell your home to buy a home, okay, you should have that on the market right away, because your financing, if it's contingent upon that, you want to make sure that that listing agent can look up your house and make sure it's marketable, okay, for their seller to know. All right. You don't want the seller having to jump through hoops, playing a guessing game to try to figure out if you're a good candidate for their house when there's 2 and 3 other buyers lined up. Folks, there is a lack of inventory out there. You've been hearing it every week on the show. We've got 3,200 houses on the market here in Rhode Island. There's supposed to be 7,000. I'm talking single family. Mm-hmm. Okay. You've got more buyers than that out there. All right. So you want to set yourself up for success there. So that's rule number 1. Okay. Rule number 2 would be failing to get a pre-approved mortgage. And I really think I should have put number 2 before number 1.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Because you want to make sure that your finances are all in line before you even think about selling and before you even think about trying to upgrade. A lot of times people think they can do it, especially self-employed people.
Oh, yeah. And it's a tremendous waste of everybody's time, and it's not really fair, because you want to be a little bit empathetic for a minute and put yourself in the shoes of the seller. Mm-hmm. You're out looking at a house, you're bidding on it, you don't know exactly how much the bank is going to give you, and if you haven't taken out a mortgage in the last 24 months, the rules are a lot different than the last time you took out a mortgage.
They are.
So, you're putting in a bid that, basically I would call that writing a check with your mouth that you can't actually cash.
Yeah.
And then the seller maybe refused to take somebody else's offer pending on yours, and now you can't come through, and you actually harmed somebody unintentionally, but it still happened just the same. That's not good karma.
Yeah, no, it's not at all. So, that's one thing we require when we're working with buyers, or when we are working a listing and we allow buyers to come in. We must get a pre-approval for these buyers, or we must help them. We must help them get it, or we must see one before they enter into any of the properties, because it just doesn't make sense any other way, okay? And again, you want to make sure, because let's just say if you're not showing that income you need to show, well, get yourself set up and ready for next year, okay? Because sometimes it is what it is. Or sometimes there's clever ways to ethically and legally work around the numbers and shuffle paperwork around. We work with mortgage brokers that can find good programs for you that may fit your career. They may fit, exactly your budget and what you're looking for. And again, make sure you're in budget. Don't overextend yourself. As much as we love to sell houses, we don't want to sell you a house and have you call us frantically in a year or two when the market could be hitting a downturn wanting to sell for what you're paying for today. You know, that could happen. We don't have a crystal ball. It could happen. So be careful, okay? And number 3, when you do get to the closing table, okay, if your agent is failing to coordinate the closings, all in due time, when you have a home to sell, when you have a home to buy, okay, what if your buyer has a home to sell too, okay? I was in a transaction where there were 5 homes in line. It was crazy. Okay. Lucky for my clients, there was 5 real estate agents involved there, and on all for the sellers' ends of that. And luckily, they were all good agents. Okay. Luckily, we stuck together because the first of the 5 fell through. Wow. It was a mess, right? We were all frantically trying to find a buyer, and long story short, we couldn't. But the first people in line, their finances, they got all of that in check where they knew ahead of time, where they knew they could rent the house out if need be and still move forward buying.
Well, and the other thing is it sets reasonable expectations, because I think, there's a ton of anxiety that comes in by not having solid expectations up front. And I know that I was in a transaction selling 3 properties to 1 buyer.
Yep. And
the bank refused to allow the first 2 to close. They wanted 1 to close first. They could not all happen on the same day. I was just, my heart was set on I want it all done in one day.
Yeah.
I want to go out and have a drink on this.
Yeah.
And the bank said no, because we want to know that you're not borrowing, cashing out of the other properties first. So it's a matter of having the right expectations. And if you're not feeling it, you need to be in touch with your closing attorney and your realtor and make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, you do, in your mortgage broker
because
too.
Disappointment is just exhausting.
Oh yeah. I mean, with everything else.
And in a seller's market, there should be no disappointment. It should only be happy people right now. Seriously,
I agree.
Happy buyers and happy sellers.
I totally agree, but emotions do play a toll with real estate. And I know firsthand. I'm sitting here in a hat and a polo shirt today because I'm in between houses. I'm actually homeless right now, and
it's happened to me in the past year too.
Waiting for work to be done, but
over having bad expectations.
Yeah, but hey, it happens.